Okay, so we are gonna start going over the review. You have a test tomorrow. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Okay, so number 1. Which expression below does not represent 125? What did y'all get? C. Okay, so we know 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. So we want to know which one does not. That one does, so that can't be our answer. Right here, we just said 5 times 25 was 125, so that cannot be our answer. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 64. So that one possibly could be it. And then 5 times 3 is just 5, or 5 to the power of 3, or 5 cubed is just 5 times 5 times 5. So we already said that's 125. So our answer has to be C for number 1. Okay. Number 2, simplify. When it tells you to simplify, when we're talking about distributive property, you just work it out. Okay? So we are going to use that distributive property, and I always draw my arrows wherever that 5 is going. So what's 5 times 4?
20.
And there's an X there, so we just keep that X. Okay? Plus, what's 5 times Y? 5Y. So anytime you see a letter by itself, think there's a number in front, a number 1 in front of it. Okay? And you're going to multiply that 5 times 1Y. So it would just be 5Y. All right, so 20x plus 5y is our answer. Number 3. Determine the value of the expression below. So this just tells us to work it out. When you see something like this, just forget that you learned distributive property for a minute. When you see this problem, what do you think? PEMDAS, right? So when you take this test, you're going to have to think, when I see coefficients and things like that, distributive property. When I don't, when I've just got numbers and parentheses and exponents, PEMDAS. Okay? So, PEMDAS, my P means parentheses. So do I have parentheses?
Yes.
Yes, so I do 8 divided by 2 first, and what do I get? 4, and I'm going to leave that squared and just bring everything else down. So 40 minus 4 squared plus 12. Do I have any more parentheses?
No.
Technically, no. I just left that there so it wouldn't get confused. So we're done with parentheses. Exponents.
Yes.
So does this mean 4 times 2, or does it mean 4 times 4? 4 times 4. When you have this superscript up here, this exponent, that means 4 times 4. So what is 4 times 4?
16.
Bring everything else down. What's 40 minus 16?
24.
Y'all seem uncertain. 24. 24 plus 12.
36.
So your answer for this one would be 36. Number 4, which set of expressions below does not represent equivalent expressions? What is an equivalent expression? Or it would have to be 2 equivalent. What does it mean?
Equal.
They're equal. They're the same. If we work them out, we're going to get the same number for both of them. Okay, so this one is kind of tricky. So here we've got different things going on. So I'm going to distribute this 4. So 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times 5 is? Okay, and then we've got to distribute this 4 here, and we get plus. Okay. Good. So those are equal. So can this be our answer?
No.
They are equivalent. So let's distribute here. 2 times 4x is 8x. And then we have to distribute that 2 to this 5. So 2 times 5 is?
10.
Okay, that's our first one. And then this is just gonna stay the same, right? We can't distribute anything anywhere. There's no parentheses. So this just stays 8x plus 10. So is that equivalent?
Yes.
So it can't be B. Remember, we're looking for the one that is not equivalent. Let's distribute this. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 4 is
20.
5 times 2x,
10x.
10x. 5 times 4 is,
20.
again, equivalent, not our answer. 2 times 5x,
10x.
10x. 2 times 4,
8.
okay. And then can we distribute anything here?
No.
No, it's already simplified for us. So are those equivalent?
No.
No, they are very different. So D is your answer. They are not equivalent. All right. Number 5. Write the prime factorization of 80. So I'm just gonna do 10 times 8. And I know 5 times 2 gives me 10. Those are both prime numbers. 4 times 2 gives me 8. That 2 is prime. 2 times 2 gives me 4. Those are both prime. So here I'm going to count. How many 2's do I have? 4. So 2 is my base because that is my prime number. And I see 2 4 times. And then I'm going to multiply. So a lot of times you're going to see that we're going to move away from using that x for a multiplication sign because you're starting to see how x is coming into play as we work with distributive properties. So I'm going to use a dot to represent multiplication from now on probably, okay? So we have 2 4 times, and then what else do we have? 5. And we only have 5 once, so we just leave it as a 5. Okay? So, huh? No? Okay. Number 6. So sorry, this is our answer. 2 to the power of 4 times 5. Which operation is performed second in the problem below? So what are we using here? PEMDAS. And remember, when we have division like this, we have to get one number on top and one number on bottom before we can do division. Okay? So, what would my first step be? Exponents, right? Because I don't have any parentheses. So my first step would be this exponent right here. So after I solve that, I would get what? 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is
27.
So then I would have 27 right there. What would my next step be?
To subtract.
Subtract, right? So this subtraction would be my second step. So subtraction would be second operation in the problem. Questions so far? Okay. Number 7. Write the expanded form and the simplified form for the following expression. So the expanded form is writing what you're doing when you are distributing, not what the simplified version is after you distribute, but the actual process of what you're doing, okay? So what is my process here? What am I doing? Multiplying, right? 5 times 2x plus, so that is my expanded. What is my simplified? Well, I'm just going to work it out. 5 times 2x is 10x plus 5 times 4 is
20.
That is my simplified. And that's it. So you need to know the difference between the two. Obviously, expanded is usually going to be longer. Okay, number 8. Write the expanded form and the simplified form for the following expressions. So we're distributing. So let's start with expanded. What am I doing first? 7 times y plus
7 times 4z.
7 times 4z. So that's my expanded. Okay, simplified. So we're just going to work out what our expanded is telling us to do, what we do when we distribute. So what's 7 times y? 7y. Plus, what's 7 times 4? 28z. Don't forget the z. That's our simplified. Questions about that? Alright. Number 9. Oh, it won't go down anymore.
Oh, wait, could you go? I didn't put the expanded form right. I was simplified one.
I'll make copies in my key and I'll give them to y'all. It has it all worked out, okay? Okay. It's not gonna let me scroll down for number 9, so just look down here. Write the expanded form and the simplified form for the following expression. Again, expanded form is the process in explaining exactly what we're doing to get our simplified version. So, distributing that 2 to that 3y, what are we doing?
2 times 3y.
Plus, you leave that sign, that operation sign alone, 2 times, and that's our which version? Expanded. Okay, now we just have to solve or simplify that expanded version. So 2 times 3y is
6y.
plus 2 times 4x.
8x.
That is our simplified version. We can't add them together because they don't have the same letters, right? They're not both x's, they're not both y's, so we cannot put them together when we're adding. Same thing for this one, simplified and expanded. So our expanded, we're gonna distribute. So what are we doing? 4 times
2x
plus,
4 times 4y.
so that is our expanded. Simplified, we're just gonna work it out. So 4 times 2x is
8x.
plus 4 times 4y.
16y.
That is our simplified. Good. Page 2, flip it over. Write the following expanded form in exponent form. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my 4s, okay? I'm gonna count. How many 4s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my base number is what? 4, and my exponent is also 4 because I have 4 of them. Times, what other number do I have? 5. So 5 is our base number, and we need to count how many 5s there are to see what my exponent is. So there are 3. So my answer would be 4 to the power of 4 times 5 cubed, or 5 to the power of 3. All right. Number 12, simplify. Are we doing PEMDAS? No, we're doing what?
Distributive property.
Distributive property. Okay, so here and here. What's 4 times 8a?
32a.
32a. Keep your operation the same. 4 times 4b is
16b.
32a plus 16b is your simplified answer. Why can't we add those together?
Because they don't have the same letter.
They don't have the same letter. Number 13. Translate the following verbal expression into an algebraic expression. Anybody not know what that meant when they read it? Okay. So, a verbal expression, they're saying you have to read this to understand it. You have to read it out loud with words to understand it. Okay, so 4 times the difference of a number and 3, all divided by 2. There's a lot of mathematical words in there. So we're going to have to create an algebraic expression. We're going to have to plug in numbers, and if there's something that represents an equal sign and operations, so that's an algebraic expression, okay? And you're having to turn words into numbers and letters, coefficients, variables, all of those things, okay? So 4 times the difference of a number and 3. So let's start with the difference of a number and 3. So what am I gonna do? Just use X as,
Whenever it says number, you have to do parentheses. The 4 is outside the parentheses.
okay, so we can start with that. The 4 is outside of our parentheses. We gotta figure out what's inside of it. The difference of a number and 3. Ava. Huh? Let's do n minus 3. You could use X, you could use Y, you could use any letter in the alphabet you want to use. Okay, but the difference of a number and 3. We know difference means to subtract. Okay, and then what does it say?
All divided by 2.
All divided by 2. So I have an entire division bar here, and I divide by 2. So you've got to learn how to pick apart these sentences. Start with what makes sense to you. So if you know it's all going to be divided by 2 and you wanted to start here, so you've got something and you can work from there to get the rest of it, that's fine. Start with what makes sense to you and pick it apart, because a lot of the times it's going to be multiple choice. So if at least you have part of it, you can use process of elimination, get rid of the ones that don't have what you know, and then go from there. Okay? Which two expressions are equivalent? So again, these you just have to work them out. What's 4 times 2?
8.
What's 4 times x?
4.
Okay, 4 times 2 plus 2x. Or plus 2 times x, sorry.
2x.
Are those equivalent? No. Okay, so we cannot distribute here. We can only do what it's telling us to do. We can only multiply and add where it's telling us to multiply and add. We don't distribute because we don't have any parentheses. 4 plus 2 plus x. So what do?
You have to get the x value.
We can't solve for the x value here, but we
You add 4 plus 2.
add 4 plus 2 and we get what?
8. No, 6.
6. 4 plus 2 is 6.
Oh.
And then we have plus x. So we are going to leave that plus x. So we have 6 plus x. Okay, we can't put, it doesn't tell us to multiply anywhere, so we can't just put that x over there with the 6. We have to leave it 6 plus x.
So we can't give x a value and add them?
No, I mean,
I don't think it'd be equivalent if we were to do it.
because, okay, we have our parentheses here. So even if you did that, I would say no, when it's asking you to find them equivalent. Okay, so 4 plus 2 is?
6.
Okay, so this is going to be 6 plus. So if we do it like Colby said, and we plug in, what number did you plug in here for that? 3. Okay, so 4 plus 2 plus 3 is what? 4 plus 2 is?
9x.
Okay, so it's just, it would be 9 if you're plugging in a value for the x. So Colby is saying she plugged in her own value here and said x equals 3, just to play with it. So 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9. So plug in a 3 here also. 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9. Are those equivalent?
Yes.
Yes.
It would be equivalent because they both have x.
So you could do it either way. You can end up with 6 plus x, or you can plug in a number and see if it's equivalent. 4 times x times 2 is what?
It's 4x times 2 will be 8x.
Very good. So I like to do my numbers first. When it's something like this, I do 4 times 2 is what?
8.
8, and then I've got an x. So 8x. And then we can distribute here. 4 times x is?
4x.
Plus 4 times 2 is? 8. Those are not equivalent. And then here, if you were to plug in a number, so let's plug in 3 again. Okay, so just forget about the division for a minute and let's start with what's in the parentheses. If I did 2 minus 3, I would get what?
-1.
If I do 3 minus 2, I get what?
1.
Positive 1. So I can already tell that I'm going to end up, if I do 4 divided by a negative, 4 divided by a positive, I'm going to get a different number, right? One's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. So I don't even have to solve the whole thing. I can know my answers are going to be different. They will not be equivalent. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 15. Cambry and Hazley went to the store to pick up treats for their party. They used pictures to show what they purchased. Write an expression to represent what they bought. So let's use C for candy canes, and I'm gonna use H for hot chocolate. So what did y'all get? Very good. So we've got 3 candy canes, and we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4 hot chocolates. So we would take our 3 candy canes and add our 4 hot chocolates to see how many we have.
My last one was an H or a D.
Huh?
My last one was an H or a D.
You can use whatever letter you want, but typically we use something that correlates with what we see, okay? So if I have zebras, I'm not going to use an N, right? Okay, I'm going to use Z, probably. Okay, I see that. So if it makes sense to you, absolutely. But I'm not going to count something wrong because you used a different letter than me. You know what I mean? Okay, write the prime factorization of 216. So I used 54 times 4. You could have used something different, so it'll be interesting to see if you use, raise your hand if you use something other than 54 times 4. Several of you. So we'll still end up with the same prime factorization at the end. So I'm going to start with this one because I know 4 is just 2 times 2. And I'm done with that one. I've got my primes. So then I'm going to use 9 times 6. I have to keep going because those are not prime. I will use 3 times 3 to get 9. 2 times 3 to get 6. So all my bottom numbers are prime. I'm done. So how many 2's do I have? 3. So 2 is my base, and I have 3 of them. How many 3's do I have? 1, 2, 3. 3 is my base, and there are 3 of them. So did you get the same prime factorization? Okay, there you could have done 108 times 2, but you still got the same answer, correct? Yes. Pretty cool how that works. So 2 to the power of 3 times 3 to the power of 3, or you can read it as 2 cubed times 3 cubed. 17. Simplify. 7 squared minus 5. Okay, so what are we doing? Are we distributing or are we using PEMDAS? PEMDAS. Do I have any parentheses?
Yes.
Yes, so that's what I'm going to do first. 4 minus 2 is? 2. And bring everything else down. Okay, so what next? Exponent. Okay, don't count whenever you bring down and you just have one number inside of the parentheses, don't count that as parentheses. You just leave it there kind of as a separator, okay? Or you can change it to a dot for multiplication. But exponent would be next. So 7, is it 7 times 2 or 7 times 7? 7 times 7 is 49 minus 5 times 2 plus 5. Do I have any more exponents? No, multiplication or division, whichever one comes first. What do I have? 5 times 2. So I've got 49 minus 10 plus 5. What's 49 minus 10? 39 plus 5 is?
42.
Huh? 44. 39 plus 5 is 44. Number 18, write an expression to represent the model below. So when you look at these models, it's very important that you cancel things out. Okay, so if we have a negative, it cancels with a positive. So if I had 2 positives and 2 negatives, I would cross out 2 positives and 2 negatives, and I would be left with 1 positive. Okay, but in this case, I've got 1 negative, right? So I'm going to cross 1 negative out, and I'm going to cross a positive out. How many x's are left?
3.
So I've got 3x plus 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 3x plus 10 is your answer. All right. If I had a negative 1 and a positive 1, what could I do?
X. X one amount. X the negative and X one positive.
X a negative, X a positive, and then you would count how many are left. Okay?
I did that on the X plus one.
Good. Which of the following has the same results as 52 minus 6 and 2 plus 4? So are we using PEMDAS or distributive property? PEMDAS. So I'm going to do 2 plus 4 first because it's in the parentheses. What's 6 times 6?
36.
What's 52 minus 36?
It's 24.
12 minus 6 is 6. 4 minus 3 is 1. So it is 16. So we are wondering which one of these has the same result as that. So we need to find one of these that has the answer of 16. So on A, cross out that plus sign. It's not supposed to be there. 4 cubed. What is 4 cubed?
34.
4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is what? 64. So 64 minus 30 is, which is not 16, so that can't be our answer. 2 plus 3 is 5. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 minus 5 is 30. That is not our answer. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 minus 8 is 22. Sorry. C is not our answer. 5 squared is 25. 25 plus 7 is 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16. So D is our answer. Last one. What's up? Okay, just wait till we're going over this. And you can go ahead and log into one of those computers. Which of the following cannot be written as an equation? So when we're looking for an equation, what are we looking for? What's the difference between an expression and an equation? An equation has an equal sign. An expression does not. Okay, so we have to read these words and determine which one tells me there is an answer. Okay, so a lot of times in equal sign, you're going to see the word is. Okay, look for the word is. So 2 times a number is 10. Okay, so 2 times a number equals 10. So there's an equal sign. That would be an equation. We want to know which one cannot be an equation. 1/3 a number plus 6. So 1/3 a number plus 6. There's nowhere to put an equal sign there. So that's an expression. So that's possible. 7 is 3 less than a number. 7 is 3 less than a number. So that one has an equal sign. The quotient of a number and 4 is 5. So there are equal signs on all of those. So we were looking for the expression. So that is B. Any questions? Okay, your test is tomorrow.